Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share yet another update on my experience with the HP Spectre X360 2-in-1. This is the 13T with the 13.3-inch 4K OLED, Intel's 10th Gen Ice Lake i7. This is the 1065 G7 with Iris Plus graphics, 16 gigs of RAM, and an Intel 1TB SSD. Now, for those of you that have been following my coverage, you know I really like this machine. You know that I, unfortunately, have been plagued with quality control issues, popping on the side of the machine, which, in this latest one I still have. And I've, basically wanted to share a video updating my experience for all of you. I've opted to now go directly to HP and get a machine that way. So this, of course, is going back because I do have that defective chassis on the side. As I mentioned in my previous update, the touchpad at least had less play, which was definitely a good thing, but that was about all that this machine had going for it from the other one that I already had to return. And as much as I've been leaning towards the Lenovo C940 that I was also reviewing, the truth of the matter here is that the Lenovo C940, as much as I like it, every time I try to proof content that I shoot for the channel, on this display, it looks right. It looks exactly as it should. And that's a matter of color accuracy provided by the OLED. And ironically, so many people are complaining that this OLED has display issues. Whereas, the display, the IPS display, and it's also a 4K screen on the C940, is very good for an IPS display. I have basically zero backlight bleed, which is impressive. Of course, with an OLED, an AMOLED, you don't have to worry about backlight bleed, and that's a pleasure. But more importantly, blacks, the color black. I mean, many of you know that OLEDs can accurately represent the color black, and LCDs, they more than struggle to produce it. You generally get some shade of gray. And since I do film on this desk that is black, the first thing I can tell you is that all of the content that I review on the Lenovo, it just looks bizarre. Whereas here, it looks exactly as it should. And that's one of the things, I hate to make this all about the display, but for me, it isn't all about it, but it's a very big piece of making this ultra portable actually worth my money. Because if I can't accurately view on the display what I need to, then it defeats the whole purpose of the machine for my case use. Now, many of you out there don't need an accurate, when I speak of accurate, I mean color accuracy display. They don't need something that's calibrated out of the box. And in that case, the C940 is great. However, the Spectre, when it comes to the display, is just, it's night and day. And I know I've done side-by-side videos, but the truth of the matter, again, is that when I put them side by side and I look at my own content, I can't bear to bring myself to keep the C940. As much as I like the build quality, as much as I like the design, the Spectre keeps drawing me back. So as I mentioned, I have custom built a machine with HP. I decided to opt for the 2TB NVMe drive because the Intel Optane drive that HP and many other manufacturers use is frankly garbage. When I compare it to older machines, 3-year-old machines that have NVMe drives in them, those, if they're Samsung, outperform the Intel NVMe that's in here. So I will say I recommend not getting the Optane version. I mean, I knew this at the start, but of course this is the Best Buy build, which is generally less expensive. It was on sale for literally a day, for those of you that are wondering, for $14.99. Today the sale disappeared. Don't ask me why. I don't know if it was something where it wasn't confirmed with HP and then HP said, hey, but meanwhile, HP also lowered their prices. So for those of you who were running after this machine because Best Buy lowered their price, I won't recommend necessarily going directly through HP, but bear in mind that HP is also selling this machine at a discount now. So for those of you who thought that it would not go on sale for the holiday, it is already on sale. So that same $200 off that Best Buy offered and then pulled, you can now get that at HP. Now, I do recommend going through Best Buy if you have to, if you need to, because if you have any sort of problem with the machine, it will be easier to navigate with a brick and mortar retail operation like Best Buy. And it's scary to even hear me say that, but it's the truth of a purchasing experience. If you go directly through with HP, and I've already had some conversations with them about pricing and things of that nature, because their prices have changed since I ordered my 2 terabyte build, and I did order it in silver for all of you that couldn't believe I didn't like the dark ash silver. And yes, I went with the natural silver, and I don't care that that's the color of the base machine, and it doesn't cost more money, $10 or $20 for the blue, the Poseidon blue, but I actually just happen to like the look of that machine a lot more. It's less flashy, it's not trying to get attention, and I already think the design and OLED of this machine garner enough attention without any additional color scheme. And I don't dislike this. It grew on me, the dark ash silver with the rose gold, which HP can call it whatever they want. It's rose gold. This did grow on me, and I do like the color scheme, but I do still prefer the silver. So I'm hoping the machine that I get sometime in the first 2 weeks of December will be problem-free, and you better believe if it's not, I will hold HP to that standard that they need to get me a machine that is free of manufacturer defects. That is a process that many people out there will not want to go through. I completely understand that. It's been a long time since I picked up a new laptop, so I plan on getting one that is worth keeping. And frankly, if this popping wasn't here, I obviously would be keeping this machine in its current color scheme. I would eventually have to get rid of that Intel drive though, because again, it is nowhere near the performance that it could be with almost any other NVMe PCI Express drive on the market. So there's a reason that HP and Lenovo both went with the Intel drive. It's the cheapest one on the market. It's not because it's the best, it's because it's the best for them to make money off of. So keep that in mind. And again, I don't know why Best Buy pulled their sale nearly instantaneously. But what I can say is that this is still a great machine. I still obviously have reservations about its build quality. I do still plan on doing, of course, my full review of this machine, but my true full review will come with the 2 terabyte build that I'm waiting on, because that's the machine where I'm going to really start using it as a daily driver. At least that's my hope. In the case that it doesn't work out, it will not be my daily driver, because I'm not going to keep something that is a DOA. The Lenovo, again, as much as I like that machine, as I stated at the top of this video, as soon as I put them side by side and see how far off it is from accurate color representation, I cannot bring myself to leave the HP. And again, the Lenovo has a better build quality in just about every way. Of course, I do think the keyboard is better here. And when it comes to battery life and heat, they're about a wash. The Lenovo's a little bit more powerful without being plugged in, which is nice, but it's also bigger. It's also a little bit heavier. I would call it a wash on weight. So it's really a matter of personal preference, but I have to say, this machine, I really thought I was going to give up on it. And the sale price didn't have an impact on my decision, for those of you that are wondering, but it did make it more compelling. In fact, one of you mentioned on one of my videos that it was on sale yesterday, and good eye. I mean, I saw it, and it was something where I had already placed my order with HP direct. So, of course, I called HP and said, hey, it's on sale. And then today, of course, I saw that HP dropped its price, so I had to call them back to do an internal price match, because, they were taking me to the cleaners a little bit with the price drop, because now the 2 terabyte machine with the tilt pen, which I decided to spring for in spite of the fact that it has to be charged with a wire, which is so 3 years ago for them. They should update that, come out with a new pen, HP. But it's now about $1,750 going direct with the silver color, the build that I put together, whereas they were charging me over $1,900, and that's all of less than a week ago. So again, this is an update for all of you that really are keen on picking up the Spectre, specifically in the OLED variety, because if it didn't have the OLED, I probably wouldn't even be considering the Spectre, because without the OLED, again, the Lenovo C940, I think, takes the cake in terms of performance, in terms of build quality, pen performance. The pen is fine here, but on the Lenovo, it is better, at least in my experience. So eventually I plan on doing an inking video and delivering a full review on the Spectre just, going through every possible step. I don't want anything rushed because, again, those of you that have followed my coverage know that this is a long-term review. It is not a short-term, wham, bam, and just produce something so that all of you can either jump in or pass, because laptops, unfortunately, don't work that way. I wish that they did. And I do have more reviews coming. My final review of the Surface Pro X, the Surface Laptop 3, and of course the Lenovo C940. All solid machines in different ways, but again, the Spectre still appears to be my favorite. I just need to get one that I won't be complaining to all of you about build quality, because otherwise, the micro SD card slot, 2 Thunderbolt ports, the Type A USB port, it really rounds this machine out. And again, build quality could be better, but it's good enough if this popping goes away. And by that, I mean the flex in the chassis. You can also feel it on the actual screen. You can see that I can actually press this in on the HP logo. Those are things I cannot do with the C940, but that's nitpicking. The popping is not a nitpicking issue, nor is getting a trackpad that has play. So if I can get these 2 issues resolved, the Spectre will be my next machine. I really have nothing else negative to point out. Don't use this on a bed, on your lap. It will get hot, so bear that in mind. But that's true of most ultra portables on the market. But that's it for today's update. The Spectre 13T with the Ice Lake refresh is still, in my opinion, the Ultrabook 2-in-1 to beat at present. And the C940 is right there with it. Those are the 2 kings of the hill, but I think you already know which direction I'm going in, and that's purely because of display quality. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.